What up everybody? My name is Tariq and I'm gonna explain about Aruba IAP 207 Instant Access Point. Aruba is a trademark of a company called HPE, if you know. The HPE, of course, Hewlett Packard, who doesn't know it. But it's HPE actually, it's Hewlett Packard Enterprise, so device for industrial environments, for enterprise companies. How I found about Aruba, I have a friend in Canada. I was telling him that I have a problem in connectivity of Internet of Things devices, IoT devices. She suggested me to research about Aruba and Cisco and some other devices. Cisco is really expensive compared to Aruba, HPE. So I researched about Aruba and then I suggested it to a company I work in, the manager, and he took a look. I explained the technical stuff about it. I mean, it can take up to 250, they said, but I used like up to 50 and it's working very fine. I guess it works up to 250 devices at the same time connectivity. So this Aruba is for, please ignore the writings here. I'm gonna unbox it first and then I'm gonna talk about some scenarios how to configure it as the way you want. This device is very awesome. It's somehow expensive, but it's affordable for small companies maybe. So I'm gonna unbox it now and explain how it works. So this is how it comes. The box, when you first purchase it, you should ignore the writings and the stuff on it because I had to do some labelings. This is how it comes, and then when you first open it, it comes like this. Of course, there is some nylon above it, and I removed it because I unboxed it before. But here I'm gonna explain what's the ports and what is it for each port. This is the Ethernet. Of course, we all know what's the Ethernet, but however, it supports power over Ethernet. It's 57 volt, 350 milliampere. I never was able to make it work using this because I don't have a power over Ethernet port that supports 57 volts. As far as I know, power over Ethernets are like 12 volts, something like this. It's kind of weird. I mean, 57 volts and 350 milliamperes for power over Ethernet. That's weird. I don't know. Something's wrong. Anyways, I didn't use this, so I used this port. It's a DC port for adapter. It's a standard 2.5 to 2.5, I guess. It's 12 volts, 1 ampere. I provide power using this port. And my advice to you, use 2 ampere to give it more power. I mean, 2 ampere only. Don't use more than 12 volts. Otherwise, you will fry it. Usually on the market, Chinese market, the adapter, they claim that they provide 1 ampere. They don't provide actually 1 ampere. So buy 2 or 3 maybe ampere. Okay, so at least it will give 2 or 1 maximum. So this device, because it's really powerful, it gets hot very fast. Speaking about this port, this is a console port. It has a special design port for connecting it directly to your PC and configure it. After I run it, I will explain how to disable it because it's not needed actually. I mean, I'm explaining here for home use or small companies, not enterprises. So, I mean, I had a lot of trouble for the first time when I bought it. I mean, it took me like 3-4 days trying to understand how it works. And in the end, I made it through. So, there is another interesting like stand there. Some sort of a hanger to the device. I mean, you can just do like this. There's a middle notch here. You can put it like this and flip it like this and it will be stable. But however, it's not so beneficial for our work. I mean, you need to hang it in the roof or something. So in the company that I'm working in, we had to design a special hanger to hold the device. I will show you in pictures. To hold it like that, and it will hold it like this. It will fit the job using SolidWorks design. Or you can buy online. You can find it on Amazon. I will put links in the description. You can check them out to buy a stand for it. However, if you want to remove it after, it's gonna be hard, so you will need to use something like a pen or something. I just have to use like this, and then it has like nails or something, so it can be removed. There's a pin here. It's called the reset button. If you messed up the configuration of the device, you can use a needle like this. An iPhone needle, to of course it should be plugged to the power, and it should be on. There are two LEDs here, they should be on, and then you can press the reset button with using this needle for more than 10 seconds. Then you can see like you have reset the device. So no problem if you misconfigure the device or you cannot access it somehow or anything. In the documentation here, I'm looking at it right now, it says it supports the IEEE standard 802.11ac, which is Wi-Fi 5. You know, Wi-Fi 6 is out there right now in 2019, but it doesn't support Wi-Fi 6 right now. Anyways, this is a very powerful device. You should take note, like, it gets very hot, but I don't think it's a problem, because I think they designed it that way. I mean, it gets very hot, but if you are in a hot environment, you should consider cooling it down, I guess. But the place that I placed it in the industrial environment, it has air conditioner and everything works fine. As I said, the Aruba requires an adapter, DC adapter, 12 volts and 1 ampere at least. I have this box. It's 12 volts. I'm unboxing right now. Let me fix the camera. It's 12 volts, 3 ampere. At least it should provide like more than one, so it should fit the job, and it should make it work. So if you have like an original adapter, like from Huawei adapter or something like this, if it's 1 ampere, it's enough. I mean, since it's an original adapter. But if you don't have an original adapter, this is a Chinese one, for example. I bought it as 3 ampere, 12 volts, 3 ampere, 5.5 times 2.5, as I explained. The inner is 2.5 and the outer is 5.5 millimeters. So this fits the job and it should get the job done. So you can buy it from online. I will put links in the description from Amazon, so you can purchase if you need to. So there is something you need to know. When you want to run the Aruba for the first time, you must connect an Ethernet cable and your power adapter. The Ethernet cable goes to the laptop or the PC or whatever you have a device to configure it. I don't know, I unboxed 3 Arubas, but one of them only worked without Ethernet. I mean, when you want to make sure that it works, look, the 2 LEDs. This LED means it booted up, it's working. And this LED means the Wi-Fi is on. Speaking from experience with 3 Arubas, I set it up. So I had some problems, it didn't boot up when there is no cable. Actually, when I take out the cable, it starts flashing. So if you have this version, make sure you plug the Ethernet cable to it. Although we're not gonna configure it through Ethernet, we're gonna use Wi-Fi. So let's get to the practical. I'm gonna explain 2 scenarios how to use it for normal use. I mean, for beginners, Aruba for beginners, you can say. Here is the Aruba documentation. If you need to read it, it explains everything related to it. As I said, it supports Wi-Fi to IEEE 802.11 AC, which is Wi-Fi 5. It also supports Bluetooth and lots of stuff, but I'm not gonna get into them because it has many features. So if you're curious about what it supports and something like this, you just have to open Google, type Aruba IAP 207, and you can read everything about it. So let's explain now the scenarios to set it up for the first time for beginners. Aruba for beginners, okay? So this is the scenario 1. As you can see, starts from here. I'm gonna set Aruba to be the main device of the network. I mean, it provides the IP addresses to the devices that it's connected to. So I'm gonna enable DHCP, and then I will configure it to make it work. It means if you enable DHCP, that means it might not work with an internet. I mean, this is an access point. I mean, it should have extending internet from other network, because there has to be an internet gateway. This is not a internet gateway. But there are some other ways. If you want to dig more into it, you can use VPN and also provide in the VPN, or use maybe VLANs to provide IPs to your own VLAN. But here I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Here in this scenario, there is no internet. It's just a closed local network. I call it intranet. So this is how it works. Step 0, configure to be standalone. Okay, first of all, as I told you, when you connect the cable Ethernet and you get the 2 LEDs work, that means you are ready to go. Open the Wi-Fi and you should see some device with there is no Wi-Fi password, and it says set me up. And there's a MAC address. You can check in the back of the device the last 6 digits of the MAC address, 3 bytes. You can see the same MAC address and you can make sure that this is your device. So now I clicked on the set me up. Now it's connected. So it automatically popped notification. Yes, okay, say okay. Continue. This you put admin. Enter admin and it will work. Choose your country. Ignore this message. Now it's done. So just in case this window didn't pop up somehow in any device you're using, Windows or Mac or anything, you can type manually this URL manually, and you will get an error message, and you can click advanced and you can proceed, which works fine. So don't worry. This is the first time you set the device up. Then as I said, to configure as to be standalone, you go to maintenance and then you go to convert. You do this standalone AP, convert one or more access point to standalone. You select the MAC address of this IAP and then you convert now. It will ask to reboot into standalone mode. Then you convert it now. So it will take time to restart and stuff like this. After we restarted the access point again, we refresh the page and then this happens. So we click advanced and proceed to set me up. We type admin, enter. We ignore this again. So now we make sure that the maintenance works fine. I mean, we converted it. So since there is no standalone AP, that means right now it's standalone, because you can choose this, for example. So it's not chosen. Right now it's standalone. So what else can we do? Now let's check here. So general configuration, step 1. Now step 0 is done. Step 1 is general configuration, such as setting admin password and others. So let's go to system. So we can change the name. This is not the Wi-Fi name, it's the instant access point name, IAP. So we can change it to Tarek. You don't need to give it a virtual control IP. It will take it automatically when you need it to. You might want to use the time zone. For me, it's Turkey, Istanbul. Yes, this is it. So what else? Let's show the advanced options. For me, let's disable the extended SSID. This means I'm gonna use more than one Wi-Fi Wi-Fi names. So I'm not gonna need it. I need only one name. LED display, we need it. Console access, that's what I talked about when I showed you the cable, the special cable of it. So we're not gonna use it, so I'm gonna disable it. And terminal access, this means it supports SSH or other Telnet or other protocols, and I also don't want to access them or anybody from outside, so I'm gonna disable them. Auto join mode, okay. Virtual control default, okay. This is good. These settings are good. So we're done here. We need to do another thing. It's called admin. We need to change the password. For me, I'm gonna leave it admin, but for you, you can change the password from here. Don't touch anything else. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do anything else. Just change the password. Leave the username admin for you, maybe. But just change the password, okay? I'm gonna leave it like that for me. Okay. So it needs reboot again. I'm sick of reboots. I'm not gonna reboot it. So let's go to step 2. Configure DHCP server and assign it to a VLAN. So to configure a DHCP server, to configure a DHCP server, you go here. There are 2 ways to configure DHCP server. One is from this side. 2 from this side. What's the difference? Here you type DHCP server, whatever name you have, for example Tariq.com, for example, and you give it DNS, Google DNS maybe, it doesn't matter, or maybe Cloudflare. Google is this, Google DNS is this, or maybe Cloudflare, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna use Cloudflare DNS. You need to give a network IP address for your DHCP. So 192.168.1, let's say 1, maybe 5. It doesn't matter. It's up to you totally. .0. So if you want to tell how your network is big, you specify using the mask. So for me, I'm just gonna give it 255 IP address. If you want more, you can make it 2 bytes. So that means it's very big IP address family. So you can make it like this, give it more. This, if you don't know what this means, you just need to Google it. I'm not gonna explain it here. This is you can say CCNA or advanced network. It's not advanced, but it's got a long story. I don't want to get into it right now. So just type what I'm typing. So this is good so far. If we press OK right now, it would work. There's only a problem for it. There's a problem for it actually, for this. That means here it's gonna use IPs from 0 to 254. They're all reserved as dynamic for DHCP. There's no static IP. You cannot use static IP for it. Of course, 0 is for the access point, and the rest from 1 to 254, they will be for DHCP automatic IP assignment. There will be no static IP, which I told you our scenario. There is a server and it needs a static IP, and I cannot assign it to the network. So this is the only problem. It works. If you press OK, it works. Now you have a DHCP ready from 1 to 254. It's working. So now it's setting the configurations, and it should need a restart right now. So I can check it again. No, it's not responding. That means I need to restart I need to disconnect and reconnect again. So right now I think we get the family we type. See? Just in case, write this down. You will need it to access it whenever you have. If you have messed up anything, you will need to access the IAP using this URL. So now I'm pressing again, and I'm ignoring this security problem. It's not a problem actually. My username and password. We have a DHCP server. Now this device provides a DHCP server. The only problem is the IP addresses start from 192.168.51.2254. So you cannot assign static IP, and this is a problem. You cannot also access the access point from these IPs because these are reserved for dynamic IPs only. It cannot be used. So we covered important parts in the DHCP part. But we have a problem we didn't solve, which is the static IP. So we need to specify outer IPs. So that's where we don't use this. Let's leave this empty because we don't need them, and use the other way around. This local DHCP scopes. So you create new and you type target.com, for example. Type local, don't do anything else. VLAN put 1 or whatever number you want. Then write your network 168.51.50. Then network mask. Exclude addresses from where to where. So I want to exclude IP addresses from ranges. For example, I want to exclude from here to here, from 0 to 20, and I want to exclude from 200 to 254. This is how it works. Okay, so default router, set it to itself. This will be useful to access the modem in static way. So now you will know the IP address of this access point. So 5, and I'm gonna say 1. So now we can access IAP using this IP address. DNS, I'm gonna use Cloudflare DNS, which is the best. Domain target.com. Lease time, it's for the DHCP pool. You should know about this. Let's make it 60. And these other options are not needed, so just press OK. Now we have one DHCP server which is set to VLAN 1. Don't add more. If you don't know what you're doing, don't add more of these recordings if you don't know what you're doing. So now it's done. Error subnet is overlapping VC assigned subnet. Okay, that's correct. We need first to remove. We need to remove both of them. Then we put OK. Then it will restart. I'm gonna disconnect and reconnect again. So now it works. Let's set it again. So this is clean. We create as we did earlier. Something. VLAN 1. So as I just said it again, I will make it fast. So this means that these IP excluded from the DHCP range. It means from 0 to 20 are static, and from 200 to 255 are static also. Of course, you cannot access 0 nor 255. They have other purposes. So from that means from 20 to 200 are dynamic DHCP dynamic assigned by the DHCP server of the IAP. So this is important. I'm assigning the IAP and a static IP address so you can access it. Set Cloudflare DNS, which is the best in my opinion. Domain name, it doesn't matter. Okay, now we do okay. Should work. See, it worked now. So let's go to the second part. That's step 3. Let's configure the Wi-Fi SSID and link it to the DHCP server with the same VLAN. So if you noticed, when we set here the DHCP from here, it's public, it's general default DHCP scope. It's by default linked to the Wi-Fi. But when we set local DHCP scope, you need to set it by yourself. So to change the SSID, we click here. You can't change this because this is by default. So you add a new one and this one will be removed. So let's give it a name, SSID name. Let's say I'm gonna say test Tariq. Just make it employee. You don't need the advanced stuff. You don't need the advanced stuff. Do you need advanced? No. Don't touch the advanced stuff. Don't need to change anything unless you know what you're doing. If you want to hide the SSID or disable it, this is up to you. These stuff are for professionals, so don't mess with them. You click next, then you put virtual control managed and you put custom and you choose VLAN 1. Then you press next. You choose password and you choose the encryption type. So I'm gonna set it WPA2. Password for now, it's simple, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. These are security stuff and advanced. If you're a beginner, don't do anything. But this, you might need this to know this. This is very important and useful somehow. This means if a device is trying to connect to your Wi-Fi and he's assigning an IP address by him, static IP address by himself. If you put enable enforce DHCP, that means if a device set a static IP for himself on the network using Wi-Fi, it will not allow him and it will not give him access to the network. So this is useful if you have some people on your network that they assign static IP for themselves and you don't want them to do that, so you enable enforce DHCP. This is very useful. So for now I'm gonna leave it disabled and then I'm gonna put next. Network, the restrictions, network based, these are also advanced stuff, so just leave them. Now finished. So now it's done. You can see 2 Wi-Fi's. If you do restart, you will see this will be removed. So let's restart the Wi-Fi. Let's restart the access point. To restart it, go to maintenance and reboot. Reboot all. So I will be back in a second. For me, it might be like 10 minutes, it depends. So the device is restarted right now, the IAP, and we should see test Tarek. It's asking for the password, which is I set. So now we are connected. If you want to see the IP, see, we are in this family right now of the IPs. It's working, and this guy works. The IP we just set using the DHCP server, or the default set me up Aruba networks. Let's log in using this one. So just ignore this message. So now we are on step 4. We finished step 3. We configured SSID and linked it to the DHCP server with the same VLAN 1 as we chosen. Let's configure the Ethernet and bridge it with the DHCP server. When you connect the device, the access point, to a switch, unmanaged switch, it will bridge the device to the switch. It will bridge the device between the switch and the Wi-Fi, and they act like one device. So so it's just to make it a normal access point. This is not a normal access point, you know. Every interface in the device must be configured separately. So to configure the Ethernet, we go here to the more wired. You have these interfaces. Ethernet profiles. These are not important. This IAP only supports one port, Ethernet port, which is 0/0. You don't need the rest of them, and you don't need the default profile. So the set me up profile, we need this. So we change this guy. Employee, we don't need POE. Admin status up. This is up device. You don't need anything else. You need uplink enabled. Enable the uplink and the admin status up. So now we're good to go. Use access mode, not trunk, and virtual control managed, and custom. Select VLAN 1. So you got my point. Access, virtual control managed, custom, VLAN 1. Now we are choosing the Ethernet the same as the Wi-Fi we chose, if you noticed. The only difference is access and trunk. If you know about CCNA, you would understand what's the difference between access and trunk. Cisco devices have the same thing. Access is only for if you want more information. If you want for more information about access and trunk, just click help and hover about this. To explain, in access mode, the port carries a single VLAN specified as the native VLAN. In trunk mode, the port carries packets for multiple VLANs specified as allowed VLANs. So I think you understood now. Since we have only one VLAN, and that's why I told you leave one VLAN and use VLAN number 1. Because if you are using unmanaged switches, you will need to use access. So just go with it. Next. So port type trusted. Next. You don't need to configure anything like this, and then you finish. Then you put this default port, and then OK. So one more thing left. You click on this access point. This is the MAC address of the device. Your device, the IAP device. You notice the last 3 bytes, C22034. This is a set me up MAC address name when we were setting in the beginning. So let's click edit. Then we don't touch anything from here. neither here, neither here. You just put uplink managed VLAN 1, the same VLAN of the DHCP, and you bridge it, ETH0. And that's it. So we will reboot the device, take effect, maintenance, reboot. So it will take like 10 minutes also for me, but for you it's immediate. So now the device has been restarted, and I'm gonna reconnect again. So it is restarted, you should see. So now everything works. Step 5, connecting the IAP Ethernet port to a switch to extend the network by wires. So if you want to extend your network and connect the server and stuff like this, now it works. It's working fine. And even if the switch is unmanaged switch, it means you don't need to configure it. The automated switches, the cheap ones. This explanation is for beginners and for home use maybe, or small companies, so you don't need an enterprise devices to make it work. Step 6. Now you have wireless and Ethernet configured network using Aruba IAP. So this scenario 1 is done. Let's go to scenario 2. Scenario 2 is like this. It's almost like scenario 1, but it's different. Scenario 2, there is an already network in the area you are working in, and you need to extend the network, Wi-Fi network. So you don't need to use DHCP because you can get DHCP from the main model, which with the internet access also, if your network has an internet access. So you need to configure the Aruba that without DHCP. It means Aruba IAP will get IPs and provide them to connected devices by Wi-Fi. The access point will get IPs from the network and provide them through Wi-Fi. So it's nothing else. You don't need to, there's no Ethernet, there's nothing. So it's only Wi-Fi. It's as simple as that. I'm gonna go step by step and I'm gonna talk to you about it. So I'm using this scenario to extend Wi-Fi range for an already existing network. Only that. So let's start from step 0. Configure IAP to be standalone. We already did this, but right now I'm gonna reset everything, but not hardware, using software. So right now I'm gonna reset the access point, IAP, instant access point, using the software inside. If we want to soft reset, we go to the interface and we click maintenance, and then we click configuration, and then we clear configuration. Clear all configuration and restart. So this means everything we have done in scenario 1 will be reset to 0. It's just like you use the needle to do hard reset. So we are doing it right now. It cleared everything and it's restarting. So there's nothing it's connected to. And I will get back to you after it restarts. I reset it using software reset. Now the two LEDs are on. The one for the LAN, the big one, the bigger one, and the one for the Wi-Fi is also on and off. Keep lighting on and off. So that means it's working. Let's take a look. Now we have it, and see automatic pop up. Continue. Continue. Admin. It will ask for country again and something like this, but I already did this. I'm gonna close this and run it on my Chrome. I already recorded it. I can do this. So everything works fine. Second scenario, as I told you, extending the already an existing network with Wi-Fi. Aruba IAP DHCP disabled, of course. Means Aruba IAP will get IPs and provide them to connected devices by Wi-Fi. So we'll get IPs through cable which is connected to another network, and we'll give Wi-Fi access. So when devices connects to the access point to the IAP through Wi-Fi, it will provide them IPs from the network. So I'm using this scenario to extend Wi-Fi range for an already existing network. Step 0. Configure IAP to be standalone. First. We did this before, we do it again. Then it will restart, so it will take 10 minutes. It's been restarted. Let's connect again to it. I can see the LEDs, so yes, now we're connected. Let's ignore this. I want to use the bigger screen. Let's enter. Yes. Admin. So now step 0 is done. Configure IAP to be standalone. We did it standalone. Now we do general configurations such as setting admin password and others. I think I already taught you this, but let's show it to you again. System. You change the name of the device here. Leave this 00, you don't need it. Click advanced. Then you choose the time zone to be whatever suits your location. For me it's Istanbul. Don't touch this stuff. For me, I prefer disable telnet or SSH or whatever to use for remote access for the device. Disabling that console also, I explained this before, so I don't want to use extended SSID, only one Wi-Fi I want. It's enough. Here to change the admin password, change it from here. I'm not gonna change it right now, so. So this is step 1 is done. Step 2, configure Wi-Fi SSID and link it to the network assigned to the DHCP server. So since the Wi-Fi is getting the IP from the network, so there's this different setting here. Let's set target scene 1, scene 2. Yes. You don't need advanced, don't need to do anything unless you know what you're doing. So leave to network assigned. Don't use virtual controller managed. Leave this to default. Don't do anything. Next. Put password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 for me. I explained already this. This one is enforced DHCP. And the rest, they are just advanced. If you know them, use them. If you don't know them, learn them. I'm gonna press next again and finish. So now we have another Wi-Fi here. After we restart the device, this set me up will be removed automatically because this is default Wi-Fi. Just to let you know. So step 3, connecting the IAP Ethernet port to the already existing network switch, which I already did from the beginning to run the device. Step 4, now you have extended wireless computer network using Aruba IAP. Well, let's see. Setting up is already there, but I should see the other one. If I don't, we need to restart the device then. I think we do. Yes, we need to restart the device. So let's restart the device. Maintenance. Reboot. Reboot the house. So I will get back to you in a moment. Has restarted again. and we can see our new Wi-Fi. Right. Tariq scene 2, but we still did see this. That means the list has not refreshed yet. We need to refresh the list. Yes, it's gone now. See, Tariq scene 2 test. So now we are connected, and there is also internet. See, Dropbox worked. Let's refresh. So see, now we have only one Wi-Fi. You can add more, but you need to enable the eSSID. Everything's working fine now. I have internet access because the access point is connected to the internet through the other network, and it's using its IP addresses. See for yourself. This is my home network, and it's working fine. There's internet access. So, step 4 is done. You have reached the end of the video, so if you like it, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. If you dislike, please click the button below. If you have a comment for me, please write it down there. I hope I can help you with any problem you have. Thank you. Peace out.